passar pelo ribeiro.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Buenas tardes. Soy María Lladó, coordinadora de música del Institut Ramon Llull, la institución encargada de la promoción internacional de la cultura catalana al exterior. Es un placer poder participar en este festival. Quería lo primero de todo agradecer al Festival Fácil por la invitación. Ya estáis en la recta final. He podido seguir en streaming y en las conferencias y algunos actos también en los canales y os quería felicitar porque está siendo estupendo. Después os quería mencionar que lamentablemente yo no soy Patricia. Inicialmente tenía que estar Patricia Gaveiras en mi lugar. Lamentablemente por cuestiones de COVID no ha podido atender. Le mandamos un abrazo enorme a ella y por su labor que está haciendo en toda España soportando la profesionalización de los festivales de música y en especial también este festival. Finalmente, sabéis que el tema del festival de la sesión de ahora son los festivales. Cuento con una compañera de conversación excepcional. Ella es Kathrin Deventer. La sesión será en inglés porque ella evidentemente no habla perfectamente español. So, hi Kathrin.
Hello, Maria.
Just introduce the session, saying that it's a privilege to have you in this panel, on this conversation about festivals, about what the past, future, and of course present, because we can't avoid the present, the current situation, which is unique, exceptional, and very, very difficult. So I let you to start the conversation, and thank you.
Thank you, Maria. And hello, everyone. I'm very happy, Maria, to share this conversation with you and to share some time with you to speak about festivals, to speak about the role of festivals, the needs, their contribution to artists, to audiences, to the broader communities in different frameworks such as cultural tourism, internationalization, global questions that we are facing and that we are dealing in the world. And I think, 40 minutes is not a lot of time to tackle all these things, but let's try. I'm not here as an artist. I'm not here as a programmer, as a festival director myself. But I'm here as somebody who's in touch with many, many festivals within the European Festivals Association and its community. And I'm also here as somebody who believes very much in the fundamental contribution of the arts to every human being. Not only, I think, for the aesthetic reasons of the arts, which in itself is a reason for arts to exist, but also for the power of imagination and the discourse around the beauty of the arts that happens in this intellectual zone that happens when people come together around the arts. And I think exactly here is where the story of interaction between people and between communities start. And that is where I think, me personally, I feel very close to the idea that the arts have a strong impact on community building. And they have a strong impact in terms of living together, in terms of curiosity, in terms of reciprocal fascination, understanding the other, questioning oneself, dialogue and empathy. And of course, I realize that community building is not a one-dimensional exercise. It's not just the arts that contributes to community building or to the feeling of belonging and to community. Other things like access to knowledge, awareness of that community, citizenship, legal frameworks, and so forth have a lot to do with this as well. But still, I assume, not only for the sake of all my arguments that I'm doing today in this conversation, that the arts can be applied in this context. That's what I choose, and that's a choice that I make personally. And that is why I said this, because even more now, and I'm not saying it is only now, but even more now with this Corona crisis and the situation that festivals basically have been put on hold, I think this function of the arts and the function of festivals has become very, very clear, and many, many things I think have been put forward, such as the very fact that people need the arts. Yesterday in a meeting, the city of Ljubljana representatives said that there is a high increase of self-suicidal rate in the city and of children between 12 and 16 that are self-harming themselves. Again, I'm not saying the arts can prevent that, but it's the result of not being in a community and not exchanging with each other. I think it's also become clear that we need a healthy society. We need a healthy society in order to have a healthy economy. So coming together in peace is one important element, but coming together in health became a new value that we found. And of course, last but not least, there is a lot of trends that we see, not only trends, but solutions that we have seen in festivals and festival makers in this time in order to find a way to tackle these challenges. We have seen the fragility of the sector on the one hand, and we can't underestimate, we will speak about that many festivals will die, will not survive, have not survived this crisis. Many artists have not survived this crisis. But at the same time, there is a lot of inventive measures and a lot of energy that has been put on all levels, on the artist level, on the festival makers level, into new formats, be it running a festival 100% digital, be it open air festivals, be it festivals on distance, be it a new approach of programming in a more process-oriented way. And now I think it's time for us to fight for reopening of festivals and of public spaces. Sometimes it's 100 people, sometimes it's 200 people that can come together. It varies. But they do exist again, and they are alive again. The Wiener Festwochen, Ars Electronica, Mittelfest, Roma Europa, many festivals, Ljubljana Festival, maybe Salzburger Festspiele, to mention a very prominent example, have opened their scenery and have opened their stages. And so now these topics, I think, that we have to tackle, or that we will tackle in the future, have to do with the health of audiences and safety measures. They have to do with open air and inside performances. They have to do with the fear of audiences as well to come back together. They also have to do with artistic compromises that we might need to do, and how far do they have to do. They have to do with the economic value and the business element of festivals and of venues as well. When does it make sense to open again? Sometimes it doesn't even make sense. They have to do with the internationalization as well, the consequences of programming local artists versus international artists, small-scale performances versus bigger performances. They also have to do with, in general, with the live versus digital element in festivals, and maybe also with the concept of slow arts, of changing maybe this more rush, or the rush that we have maybe seen, maybe some mobility and hyper-production that existed here and there, in order to define a new speed, a new way, a new approach of programming festivals. And maybe, Maria, just to conclude this first kind of photograph that I try to sketch of what is alive in festival makers' heads at this stage, questions and challenges and so forth, it also has to do with the definition of ownership of public space, the responsibility of the individual and of structures and organizations as such. So the question is, what responsibility are we taking as a festival in this public space? And maybe on a political question to conclude, we have to fight for political recognition and go on fighting for political recognition. Have a constructive dialogue with policymakers in order to make them with us, shaping a new, let's say, we story, a story of taking shared responsibility for the public space, for people to come together, for the continuation of humanity, if we want to face it again, everybody in this dialogue and this new culture of responsibilities and new relations that we have to form, I think, have to take responsibilities. And I think it leads, Maria, somehow for me to the main question that often, of course, is put on the table: why do we need festivals? I try to give now some of why do we need festivals? Why do we need them? How's the situation in Spain? What kind of festivals are sparking out? What did you discover?
Yes, thank you, Kathrin. Absolutely, we need it. It's something that we need as a right, I could say. Going back to the beginning of the word, festivals, it came from, etymologically, from festum, party. Okay, so it was the party related to the ceremony. So it's a need of the ceremony to attend to something very special in that you feel and you need it and you want to go there because it's unique. Of course, the ideological and religion crisis in the world changed a lot the way to attend to the church or even to the rituals or many different kinds of expressions of religion. But in a way, not being superficiality, to attend to a festival is a ritual. And population and social people needs to attend that. Of course, there are many types of festivals and we can discuss about this and that, but I think at this moment, that in the present, focus on the necessity of culture as a right. Nobody could say that festivals are a thing that we can live without. Of course, then there is this contradiction between festival against what? That was in the description of the panel, against small concerts or regular programs, and we can talk later about and go to discuss a little bit about that, because also we can avoid this point of the cost of opportunity between festivals, other types of music or theater or dance or literature programs, of regular programs in culture. But yes, attending a festival is a social benefit, and the instauration of the wellness of the culture has a contraposition between leisure and consumerism. There is sometimes a worst or a bad approach about festivals because it's massive and of course it depends on the festival, but of course there is a part of leisure and of business and of etc. But people need to attend to concerts as people need to attend to football stadiums or even to attend to church. No? This is very simple, but I think it's at this point that with the Corona context, we are remaining back to the key questions about why we need culture. And we need to survive. Of course, as you said, they are not going to avoid, but they're going to help to be more happy and the aim more massaged. No? So yeah, and this, besides of that, is the global community. No? Global community about the concern about the festivals. Of course, even before the Corona, the model of big festival, massive festival, has been reconverted about the green solutions, also with the selections, on the logistics, on the production, So we are in a moment, like in the point of the curve, that is an abysm. But we have everybody together thinking what is the best option to survive the model. And I think this is very important because it's very difficult to have the fast of power, the economic and the social. And now we have a very good opportunity to try to put together, to discuss and to try the best option to survive the model of the necessity of festivals. Of course, as we mentioned, there are many types of festivals. Not the same a festival, private festival 100% or public private festival or even a public 100% festival. Of course, the right of the culture, the politics needs to focus on assure that the festivals and the culture in general will be part essential of our lives as the medicine, as education. So we are battling that. You are in Brussels, you are in the heart of the power of reivindication, these solutions. So in this case, the associations, you can make a very good power of pushing the Brussels to try to have a little bit more chance of helps and to maintain the culture offering in the world, of course, overall in Europe. Of course, it depends also about which country. The Corona is not the same impact and in the same moment in every country, and every country is trying to be and to survive in their own consume. What about Spain? I can tell you, I will put examples later, but it has been very, very difficult. But even that, I admire all the festivals and institutions that push a lot to make something possible. And this lies also with the result. even the audiences and the capacity has been cut a lot, even the security. We have programmed not bad number of festivals in Spain. I mean, everybody knows that Spain, Italy has been one of the worst countries with the corona. And we keep trying to imagine new possibilities and to offer the audience, because people and the social community needs, as I don't say as water, but almost like water to attend to have fun and to receive culture. I don't know, Kathrin, perhaps we get through the audiences because we talk about the general context, but what about having the audience? I think because the title of the panel wants to put us against festivalization, and so we need to be a bit autocriticism. Not as we are not programming or managing festivals, but we attend a lot of festivals. We hear people, we see the reactions about the audiences and the organizers, the enterprise, business, and social community. So I think it's good also to take attention about the audience or the way to run this new era.
Yeah, of course, audiences is who we do it for, people that include also artists. I always try to make the point that a festival is there to offer a platform for the artist to dare to create, to try out new things. And the role of a curator would be, or a programmer would be, to give that platform to an artist to do exactly this work, process-oriented. But more and more we see that programmers embed this work of the artist in the framework, in the context, in social questions that are at stake in a certain area, in a certain neighborhood, in a more process dialogical way with the community. So I think when this dialogue between artists and audiences is not so sharp anymore. And there's, I think, many new models that have been put forward even before the Corona crisis. This is a trend, I think, that is maybe in the last 10 years very much at stake in festivals. But what I wanted to say one more thing about the need of festivals, and then I come to the audiences, because I find it very interesting this time now for one reason, for many reasons. Challenging, not only interesting. Interesting is a very flagrant word that seems nothing, but it's interesting and very challenging for all of us on various levels, is that we always, until now, let's say in the last 10, 15 years, we have used numbers, facts, and figures that have defended or that defend the existence of festivals. And we do the same. We say we represent, for instance, in the year 2019, 800 festivals that we labeled with a remarkable stamp. They represent 156,000 artists that were on stage at these festivals, 10,000 people dedicating their life, 41,000 volunteers who collectively worked on these festivals, 3.3 million tickets that were sold in these 800 festivals. We estimate that 40,000 festivals exist in Europe, and we think that around 20 million people attend these festivals. So with bonbons, it always helps. I'm prepared. I have bonbons, milk, everything around me to abstract my children. So we use numbers for this, for explaining that festivals are a workforce, first of all. Also, next to offering cultural and artistic programs, festivals are workforces. That festivals are factors for health and for the well-being of people. And that is something that now became a new value, and a value that festivals can offer to society. And there is questionnaires, my friend Haris Pazovic, who invited audiences into Sarajevo's theaters and film halls while the war was happening. And this was giving them hope to survive that period. So questionnaires, and to stay well and to stay connected and to feel somehow hope and belonging. And questionnaires are circulated about the impact of not having access to the arts now during Corona. And I can personally say that we will feel this traumatic consequences that people will suffer from this time. So I think this is important to underline when we speak about audiences. There is a huge value of arts to be exposed to audiences. Now to the question of current examples in this conversation. I think, first of all, one issue is there is a lot of digital offer now, which is something positive. which means that many festivals now that went online have reached an increased amount of audiences, international, global audiences that otherwise would never have had access to those festivals. New conversations happen on various levels thanks to this digital environment we were forced to use in this time. So I see this as something that will stay with us for sure. At the same time, there have been a lot of artistic practices, artists such as Ivo Dimchev, who did a Bulgarian artist who offered home concerts. We have Carte Blanche in Norway, a dance company who performed in front of old people's houses from their own willingness and need to give something back to people and to society. We have the Helsinki Festival that developed a new application that is called Art Gifts. Art Gifts offering little art gifts, home concerts or home artistic performances. We have what we also see, new curatorial co-creation processes I was mentioning before. In Berlin, Berliner Festspiele, the jazz festival in Berlin is, I think, a fantastic example of this process of co-creation with the community on various levels, not just programming a festival as such, a product as such, but really engaging in a process of a year long with audiences, with communities in the city where it happens. You have other formats, many formats. You have Prison Escapades, a project here of a friend in Brussels who is organizing, who is creating, who's turning audiences into actors and invites prisoners to become the curators and artists in concerts in the prisons. You have Big Bang, another festival that is offering children's performances, very dedicated formats for specific target groups that festivals, I think, fantastically can approach. And Roma Europa in Italy does the same. Every serious festival by now has a children's program dedicated to that specific group. What I think is now in the specific environment of Corona and the tendencies now interesting is how we can gain back the trust of people, of audiences to come together and share public space together. And secondly, I think another important, interesting element is that we know that we have sometimes 25% capacity or 50% capacity or even less. How can we make sure that we are not giving these tickets just to those ones that are first online or that are the first ones, the privileged ones, the ones that normally would go to concerts, but that we make sure that all these systems of ticketing that exist to reach out to underprivileged groups of people, free access to audiences, to performances, how can we make sure that these mechanisms are part of these 25% tickets that are sold towards audiences. But of course, audiences it's a big topic, so many different dimensions that we have to speak about. Maybe you add some of your points on audiences, Maria.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Audiences, of course, before the COVID, the festivals changed about the experience. Everybody expected something different to attend the festival. It was much more than just attending to a concert. You want to take part of it because you feel you appertain to that community. Each festival has their target, or even that it's mixed, but it has a main target, and the people want to appertain to this. There is like identification with the experience to attend the festival. This in terms of sociability repercussion. Then with the COVID, of course, the festival has innovated so fast. I'm impressed about the way to even Fácil Festival, for example, but a lot of festivals have been working hard and making plan A, B, C, D each week. It depends on the new laws and the new forbidden laws about what they can do, open air, close, capacity, etc. So in Spain, or mainly in Barcelona, where I live, summer festivals, it's plenty of festivals in normal times. But this summer, I will just to go through 4 or 5 festivals example, what they happened and what they did. For example, we have the three festivals most important in Barcelona, which is Cruïlla, Primavera Sound, and Sonar, or the most in pop music, not in classical, of course. They make different options. Cruïlla, for example, was 3 days, and they changed like the format in Cruïlla XS, and then it was XXS, so even smaller, which is funny of naming. And they used to be in the Forum, which is in the city in the south near to the beach, where the Forum of Cultures was built. And they moved to different places and locations in the city, like Camp Nou of Barça, which is very good, Montjuïc, and very, very different places where nobody could expect that it was a concert there. And of course, all the facilities about security, that culture is secure. And this is also, I want to go through later about this movement in Spain of the culture is security, because the restrictions were very, very hard. And it was a social movement and a cultural movement reclaiming, and still we are reclaiming, that the culture is secure. So in Korea, make a very big campaign of communication about, please come to our concerts, you are saved. No? Then it was also the Association of Venues of Clubs of Barcelona, called ASAC, make an agreement with the City Hall of Barcelona, and in summer they program a music series, a festival called Sala Barcelona. It was in the castle in the north in Montjuïc, and they programmed in a very safe place, beautiful open air, of course, a lot of concerts the whole summer in a very, very symbolic price. 10 euros or 12 euros it was, and they have almost sold out most of the concerts. So I'm glad also to say that it worth it. Primavera Sound changed a lot because the news were changing every day. So at the end, they make spread the program in 2 months and make some concerts. Also, they have the broadcast. They have Primavera Sound Radio, which is a very good platform of music context. And also, they are doing very well. They are still finishing the last concerts. And we had also last week Sonar Festival, one of the most expected festival internationally, because it's Sonar and Primavera. These are the festival that people internationally are coming to Barcelona to attend there, and they make this mix of format between digital, streaming, and site specific. And I would like to ask Dali to show you the short video about the festival, because it has been, from my point of view, a very good success. They have programmed mainly of the Catalan scene, but also inviting artists making sound installations, and also programming 2 days non-stop DJ session in a tower, the Tower of the Water, Torre de las Aigües, and also programming digital installation site-specific in Ideal, a new place. So I want to share with you the clip. I think it's good to also to be able to hear on this, and I think it's going to be put it right now. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. The other point to discuss is about the audiences and what the experience of this new format of digital, to attend a festival digitally. It's absolutely true that you have the open range of how many audience you can have potentially. It's a lot, it's true. But also I think we need to talk about the experience of attending a festival digitally. I'm sure it depends on where you live and which kind of screens and audio setting you have it in own homes. Of course, if you have surround, a big screen, you can even invite some people, have some drinks and enjoy the festival. But it's true that it's something different. It's not the same, it's different. And we can't avoid this reality. But I need to say that I follow Sonar at home tonight. And I really, really enjoy, because I was able to choose a lot of the concerts and the talks, and then to change the screen. And it was a new experience that I hope everybody will be able to get a bit to it. Not hoping that it will be always like that. I think we need the live, and we need the festivals coming back. Not the same, of course, but in life experience, because we need life for culture. I think we could go through the other aspect of the festival topic, which means you mentioned, Kathrin, about international relation and tourism. It's an evidence that Barcelona, for example, or other cities of Spain, Madrid, or even Andalusia, have festivals, iconic festival, which means to be able to come people and tourists to the cities. But we need to say that it's not all the festivals. There are many few, but it's a potential keyword to develop the economics and the impact in the cities. I don't know, Kathrin, if you, as you have all types of festivals in the association and from all Europe, you can explain a little bit about the tourism impact or the relation between festivals and tourism.
Yeah, of course. When we speak about audiences, we don't have to forget that audiences of a festival are 90% local audiences. Festival is in the first place a local happening, and a local happening that is attracting or that is owned by people in the space locally. You can only start a successful festival if it's owned and contributing from the local. Ask Charlie, from the local community. And I'm so sorry. She always comes in when it's my cue. I will give her now a new film. Okay. So the tourism element is just for a few festivals, actually, when we speak about Salzburg and we speak about the major festivals that really are the reason for people to travel to a certain place. And what is interesting when we speak about festivals and about tourism is that I think the tourism itself is changing. And there is an interesting overlap between what is happening in festivals at the moment, not only because of Corona, but really also because of the general development of society, is that we speak about slow tourism. We start about speaking a beautiful sentence that was used by the Edinburgh International Festival director, by the Edinburgh Festivals director, James McVeigh. He said, we are not having one-night stands anymore. We are falling in love with a place. We are staying longer in the place. We are engaging with the community. We are together for a longer space of time. And I think that is what is going and what is happening with festivals now as well. We are going into a moment of slow arts, into having an orchestra, not six orchestras for 6 days, but we will have one orchestra for 6 performances in the city. And so I think this engagement between arts and between tourism and the tendencies in both areas is at this stage overlapping. Tourism is also now about community building. It is about the value of the community. And that's, I think, a new notion in tourism that we have to embrace. I think that is something that we, as a community of festivals, can really take up. Well, tourism, of course, is a hot spot, a hot place in Barcelona, isn't it?
I want to share with you because I'm one example of the tourism related to festivals. I'm originally from Mallorca, okay? So Balearic Island is a place where tourism apparently doesn't need culture. We have tourism anyway. We have sun, we have beach, so we don't need to imagine new excuses to attract tourism. But from perhaps 4 years, there is a different initiative, private and public initiative, to try to show Mallorca as another face, not just on beach and fiesta, no, and party. So there have been like 2 festivals with international relevance I would like to mention. One is the Mallorca Live Fest, which is kind of an open air 3 days festival of pop rock indie music, like Primavera or like more or less. And then another festival called Atlantida Fest, which is a cinema fest, and is with one digital portal of cinema and cinema documentary, and it's within international program, and it's identified with Mallorca. So I think for this precisely with the context of sustainability, proximity, and ecology, community, there are some examples of 15 years it was unbelievable that Mallorca should have a festival like that, like massive festivals. So sometimes it's the tourist, it's not the festival doesn't serve to the tourist, but the tourist can serve to the festival. So I think this relation is also tricky. Many feel, I need to say, but sometimes also the pole it's moved. So the balance is not always in one side, and I think this can bring us to the topic about local versus global. There are many types of festivals. So we have the big festivals and well-known festivals normally in the capitals or in the big cities, but we have plenty festivals in every tiny small village or town in Europe and in all the world. So I think it's important to also to take a little bit time, if we have still 5 or 10 minutes, about this issue. The COVID context put us in value the proximity and the human scale of the life events. It's true that this is light also about the fair and the fate and the poor of the corona. Poor of if we are going to get infected. But anyway, in any case, also small festival has been taking place. And we think with the excuse of a festival helps a lot to small cities and small towns to be representative in the map. Even with the maps are very relative, but to be in a town specific on urban design or food and literature, and because remaining also to the beginning of the conversation, because festival implies something special, different and unique, and everybody needs to have something that is unique. Everybody needs to feel that we are unique, and we want to share this unique symbolism. So to be positive, I think in fact that this is a very big opportunity, even that it's a disaster of the general panorama. And as you and me, we are not promoters, we are not festival makers, so it's very easy to talk with this approach. But I really think it. I think we should try to see which is the model that is possible now, perhaps a mixed model, but public-private, but true. The true, not the liberalism public-private, no, the true collaboration and adding forces to feedback and to report to the community. I mean, hopefully people has a lot of information now, and everybody has the right and the voice to express what we need. So, in fact, is a way to be like we serve to the community. So I don't know, Kathrin.
Yeah, I totally agree, Maria. I think that, I mean, we all have to do our homework, and we do. I know that from every artist that I'm encountering, from every festival maker that I'm speaking to, they all work beyond their limits, sometimes sell their instruments to survive. It's heartbreaking stories. We do more than sometimes we can. And so we cannot accept, I think, that any contribution that the arts, the artist, or a festival wants to do to society is hindered by this crisis. On the contrary, I think we have to fight, or we have to convince and keep on dialoguing with political decision-making levels that it's their responsibility to serve the public, to serve not the public, to serve us citizens, people that needs the arts. And indeed, that closes our circle to the first question, how we started. I think with all these efforts that we are doing, it is needed that we collectively embrace this task together, and that is what the European Festivals Association, as a collective, as a community, tries to do, not only here in Brussels, but also on the local level in particular, with mayors, city representatives, with national governments that have actually more financial say than the European Commission, as we all know about festivals and their existence. So it's a huge opportunity, but also a huge responsibility to serve all that energy that is now put by artists and by festival makers into their festivals and into the sustainability of the sector. And I'm very happy that we can have these conversations and these links, and we can now tonight talk to each other. And there is so many other conversations going on. And I hope that we can collectively come to this new we story of underlining the need and necessity of the arts and what we are doing in this sector. So thank you also for the festival, for this invitation, for this talk, and congratulations to a fantastic online program and a series of conversations. And it was such a pleasure, Maria, to meet you. And I will come to Barcelona and have a drink with you.
We wait.
And I will leave my kids at home.
We need to go to Salamanca. You and me, we need to go to Salamanca.
Okay, we'll do that. Well, I greet everybody who was on this Zoom or on the talk. And thanks again for the festival to invite us for this conversation.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
It's dark in Brussels now.
Quando me laças